Hi.
Hi.
How's it going?
Good. I don't have a stable place to put my phone, so it's gonna be kind of wobbly.
I just majorly ghetto rigged my tripod.
My hair turned out way too good after a shower, so I didn't put a hat on. I was like, I don't want to screw it up after a wig either. So sorry. I do have a Pokemon shirt on, so I'm sporting something.
Here, my shirt.
That's cute.
Alright. I suppose we'll just give it a minute and see who all shows up, and then start.
Sounds like a plan.
Can you hear me alright?
Yeah. Can you hear me okay?
Yes. Yeah. Yay, people. Hi. Oh my god, so
Yay.
fast. 21, Caffeinated Vixen. I saw another person. Yay. Hello. Hey, it's Daria. Daria.
I can't exit out.
Sweet. Thanks, Jan. Jan's got our backs.
Yay!
I just gotta wait a few more. I'm having a little trouble hearing, so I'm just turning my own volume up on my phone. Oh,
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, it was kind of loud now, so I can hear it.
Oh, you can hear you? Okay.
Yeah.
We don't want that. No, don't. Okay. How about I put it back to the way it was?
Do you have any headphones? Cause yeah, I can't hear myself now. No feedback. Then you can hear me better, most likely.
But if you guys can hear me, I'd rather not have to wear my headphones. Jan knows my technological troubles.
I know what the Wi-Fi struggle is real. Hey, that's me.
I love that picture.
Oh, thank you.
Yes, Martin did a good job too. All right.
Yeah, I was really excited when I got the whole set back.
Yeah, I just saw that other one you put up. I haven't had a chance to go like it yet though, but I will
after this.
And like a dumb, I forgot to write down our questions. Did you write down our questions?
I didn't write them down. I remember one of them. We're professionals, right?
Right? Yeah, we're so cool. Don't write nothing down. Well, all right. We'll do introductions first, even though everyone should know who we are, but you never know.
So, they might not. You never know.
I'll go first. I'm Fluffy Fox Photography. I am Wing It Fluff. I am from Madison, Wisconsin, and Sakura and I have shot together before, and so I'm doing cosplay interviews, and she volunteered. Yay! So it's all you.
I'm Sakura Sunset, and I've been cosplaying since the summer of 2013, and I only got started doing more elaborate and just doing the whole cosplay myself about a year and a half now. And yeah, I'm from Wisconsin as well.
Yay. Go Wisconsin.
Yeah. All the cheese.
Yeah, oh my god, the cheese. Don't even get me started. I think the first question was, what drove you to want to get into more elaborate stuff?
Well, because how I started is how a lot of people start, with doing closet cosplays, and then going to thrift shops and just altering the clothes from there. And then there's a kind of restrictive quality of it though, that you have to find materials that match your needs, and sometimes you just can't find an outfit that's right. And my cat is bothering me right now, of course. What a good boy. But you can't always find what you need, and so it's just that creative drive that I'm I want more controllability over the things I make and the things I do. So you can only do so much with found materials, obviously, and
sure.
It's yeah. And when my budget kind of just, I got a I work full time, so I'm able to afford to like just make things from scratch too. Because sometimes like it is a lot cheaper just to have found materials for sure. But when like I have the budget to allow me to just kind of make whatever I want. I don't always have the time, is one of the problems. But I just like love the creative aspect of it because when I was like growing up, I always made my own Halloween costumes a lot of times, and so yeah, so cosplay just kind of came like 100% like natural to me always. That I loved like I cosplayed before I knew what cosplay was. A lot of times, like because you know, for me, like I see it as you cosplay like a specific person. Like for instance, like a witch is not a cosplay, but if you are Blair, like the witch from, well, she's not a witch, she's a cat from Soul Eater. Like that's a cosplay, you know? It's like someone or like some specific character. And so like my first one that like I think I mean, obviously I had characters growing up, but like one where like right before I got into the hobby, like I did like a Pikachu, where I just like I crocheted the hat and I like dyed some like a thrift store shirt and pants I found just yellow, and I crocheted like this janky ass tail. Like it was so bad.
That's awesome.
Yeah, but then like yeah, I found cosplay, and I consider my first cosplay Korra from Legend of Korra. Because that's when I knew what cosplay was. What?
That was
skipped out. Sorry.
That you put
Thank
on.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I just shot it for the first time last year.
Yeah. You made your Saria too, right? You made the whole thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
That was one of like the sweater I think is the only thing I didn't make because I made the boot covers and I made like the shirt, like tunic, and like the shorts, and like I styled my wig. I made my fairy, and then like the headband like I covered in matching fabric. I made the belt, things like that.
Yeah, like all the colors I thought were really good. Is it hard to like find appropriate colors that fit? Because I feel like I've heard a couple of cosplayers say a few times that finding especially an exact match is like really hard. I don't make my own stuff, so I wouldn't know.
It is like it depends on the color, obviously, because like Lincoln Saria wasn't super hard. It was that like we me and my friend actually did like young Lincoln Saria, and we had the problem that we wanted linen because we were just like this is a material that they'd actually make and they'd actually use, and we couldn't find it in the right color we wanted, so we ended up dyeing it, and it actually like it came out kind of like blotchy looking, but at the same time it like made sense because like that's what it would look like if the characters actually like had to dye it themselves. And so like it is hard like finding it in the exact material you want a lot of times, and because sometimes like you can find the right color but it's the completely wrong material. So there's always the option of dyeing, but sometimes dyeing can like produce unpredictable results like the blotchiness in like Saria and Link, but sometimes it's like a happy mistake, so it's kind of a hit or miss. And like you also have to understand like how dyeing materials work, like how like cotton dye does not work on polyester and like vice versa, like things like that you have to think about. And I don't dye my stuff too often just because it's a hassle. So I'll usually just find the closest match.
Yeah, I didn't know it was so
Oh, I got a question in the chat.
Oh, what does it say?
You go ahead though.
I was gonna say I didn't know it was so like detailed as far as using different dyes and different fabrics and.
Yeah.
What is our question? We should do questions at the end, maybe.
How far can we go back though?
I can.
Oh, we can go almost to the beginning. So
maybe
we can do questions at the end.
We'll do. Yeah, let's do questions at the end. We'll try to remember this one though. Everyone like looking at my nose. So you started doing. When did you start doing like bigger stuff? That was fairly recent, right? Like I know you're your turtle thing. I didn't know how big the shell was. It was huge. I thought it was smaller. I thought maybe it was like an elbow patch or something.
Yeah.
But it was big. And I was surprised. I can bring that up actually since I'm on your Instagram.
Well, that was like my first big EVA foam project, and there she is.
But it's a full backpack.
Yeah. I actually had a friend come up with that idea of like, because I told him like, oh, like I love doing group cosplays, and a lot of times like I'll even like put other stuff on hold because I just love cosplaying with other people so much. And he approached me and he's like, hey, like I think a Koopalings group would be awesome, and I was like, yeah, that does sound awesome. Especially like I've always wanted to do a big Ava foam project. I haven't like really had the chance yet, so it was just like, of course I want to do this. This sounds awesome, and I get to cosplay with my friends. Like it's great. And then it was great, but also kind of terrible because cosplay like it was the issue that like we decided to do everything together, and then we were like super
Sorry.
That we were like super rushing at the end, and it was just really stressful, and I was like, I'm never doing a group cosplay like this again, or at least not for a while.
Oh my god. Sorry, this is my dog. Hi. He barks because my boyfriend's doing laundry, and that means, he has to bark every time the door opens because he's
it's a doggo thing. It's fine.
So I don't know if you said it while he barked or not, but all the shells you had to make, like how long did that take you? Like did you do like the shell first and then do the ring and then
Yeah, what we did actually, we started in June, believe it or not. And what we did first is I worked with a friend of a friend that he was not Iggy. I can never remember all their names. Lemmy? Yeah, it was Lemmy. It was the orange one. And he we should build it on a backpack because then we have like a dome shape we can start off with. And so when we started in June, our first days we patterned the shell and figured out like we filled like one of the backpacks with I think it was just newspaper or some kind of stuffing, and then we like put aluminum foil and duct tape over the whole thing and like just pattern it out that way. Yeah, so we had like an actual shape to go off of, and then we cut out, and then he ended up changing some things later on, because first we made it that it was the Ava foam like big shell, and it was just like a bunch of like round, not cylinders, but they were kind of like hourglass shapes, and like one was like a wedge kind of shape. It was weird. It's hard to describe without actually seeing it, but then we were gonna put like craft foam over top to make like the pentagon and all the corresponding shapes. But then like he figured out like, hey, we should just make the like base the shapes because that's easier, because they had issues with like fitting like the craft foam over it. And then he's like, well, like we should dremel the edges because that creates more depth and whatnot. And then like I ended up adding, like I was the only one because I think everyone else ran out of time, but like I added black to like my like inside of the seams just because I thought it made it pop a little more. It looks a little more like cartoony. It's got this shell shading more so. Not that one.
No, not this one.
But the spikes are what's next to it. That's another thing. Is you built the like main shell part first, and then we added the ring around it, which is pipe insulation, and then like that. And then the spikes were it was the bottom piece was like a chunk of just circular Ava foam, and we cut a hole in it, and we cut a hole in all of our shells too, that it was bolts. And then there's a nut that goes on the back, so they're all detachable for travel. And then, everything's like covered and sealed and plastidip, and then painted.
Cool. Was it functional as a backpack still?
Yes. Like it's not super convenient because you have to take off the whole thing, and then how it's attached to the back or to the shell shell, and then I can use it.
Oh, okay. So kind of.
Yeah.
Do you remember what our other questions are?
I only remember the first one.
I was gonna write it down too. We're so professional. So when you decided that you wanted to start doing like bigger stuff, I'm assuming you had to get more equipment, like the Dremel tool and other stuff. What all did you have to get to start doing bigger projects like that?
Like some stuff I already had on hand, like the cutting mat. Like I got a self-healing cutting mat a while back, and that was just a good thing to have for like fabric. Mostly is what I used it for originally, but like foam, it just makes sense to have it so you're not damaging your floor or tables. Like I see all those like YouTube like tutorials and someone's like cutting with a rotary cutter on their carpet. And I'm just like, oh dear lord, what are you doing?
Oh.
Yeah, right. Terrible idea.
To cut my carpet up. Oh,
and then yeah, I got a Dremel first from Harbor Freight, and I got like their $10 one, which I would not recommend to anyone now because it was the jankiest thing ever. Like there were times where the bits would rotate out and like shoot off into like across the room, and I was like, this is terrifying. Like, but then I ended up getting a better one with a recommendation from a friend, and I invested in a bunch of just like cheap utility knives just because I think I got like 5 of them for $10 on Amazon. Like they're just, and then I got a blade sharpener for Ava foam because it dulls your blades super fast. I don't think I got anything. Oh, heat gun. Heat gun is important for shaping the foam too. But that's I think about it. Like I didn't need to invest in a ton of stuff overall.
Are you I feel that wasn't as much as I was. I expect people like when I see armor and stuff. I always think people have to like, go egg sisters and like have all this stuff and elaborate setup and all that. But I guess when you're doing foam, it doesn't need to be so complicated.
No, foam is like it's a really good material. I feel like to start with, just because it's relatively cheap. Like the foam I got was from Shopco, and I it was like 4 square feet of the floor mat foam, and mine's I think it was like $16 on sale. But for at Harbor Freight, you can get four like 4 square feet pieces for $9, I think only. And then the setup for foam is not that expensive. The most expensive part, though, I feel like with like over time, is getting stuff to seal it with because Plastidip is not cheap. Like it took a can and a half to seal our shells and like spikes about, and it's like it's not that expensive. It's like $6 a can, but it's one of those things that you have to like keep buying over and over again too.
Maybe there's like I was just gonna ask about like where's the best place to shop to get the stuff you need and um are there any like wholesale sites or something that would be good for stuff like the sealant or anything like that?
Not that I know of, honestly. Like I haven't looked too much into it really, but for like floor mat foam, it's definitely Harbor Freight is the cheapest, but it's not necessarily the best foam because like some of the foam we got was like 3/8 inch like tall, and then some of it was like a full half-inch, and it varied in size, so it's not like super high quality stuff necessarily. For my like thinner foam, because they're like it's funny because it says like half-inch on all the packaging, and it's not all a half an inch, and yeah, it's not like awful with something like uh the shells because you just had to glue down the edges basically and line them up that way, and so it didn't matter if they weren't right on. Oh yeah, contact cement, that's a big thing too, which contact cement is relatively cheap depending on what brand you get. But I do most of my shopping at Home Depot a lot of times, And then for like foam that's thinner than like the half-inch stuff, I usually buy from TNT Cosplay just because it's convenient because it's smooth on both sides. And like the floor mat stuff you get is smooth on one side and the other side is textured usually, and so you either have to sand that off or cut it off or just live with it.
It's like extra work.
Yeah, it is. That's why, like, in my opinion, it's worth it to get the like extra or pay the extra fee, but for some people it's not, obviously.
Yeah, I guess it all depends on budget. So with your new project, I know you've got Urza coming out. That's exciting. I'm excited for that. Like how much you're using foam, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. How much like
Foam and
how much like square foot of foam do you think you're gonna use? Because you're doing like the whole thing, or like
see, I have a problem. I don't.
foot, or how does it go?
They're like they come in like big squares, and they're like 2x2, and I'm really bad at keeping track of my materials and how much I've spent on a cosplay because I don't want to think about it usually. And like the thing is that I made like the front of the chest piece plate or the chest plate, and I'm not 100% happy with it, so I might end up remaking that. But like I won't actually get to Urza until after Amki, just because I can't like plastidip during the winter because it affects like drying, it affects how it comes out, and like it comes out more like bubbly almost if when it's colder, and that's like a thing we had to deal with a little bit. Yeah, when at towards the end of our Koopa shells, it was kind of a pain, and so like I use this app called Cosplanner, which is not sponsored by them by any means, but like you can I write down like how much the like things like wigs and contacts and shoes and like stuff cost, but like things like the oh your phone's dying. Oh no.
Yeah, plug it in. Plug it in. Plug it in. Who remembers that? Okay, plugged in. Let me try to set back up so I don't have to hold it because it's a huge pain in the butt. Oh, I'm crooked now. No. The charging cord sticking out of the bottom of my phone is like affecting what's going on here. If I shorten my chair. Oh, I am shortened. Oh no.
I can see you okay. Just forfeit.
Back all gangster. Okay. So I don't want to run it too long because I feel like super long live streams are lame. And like it's hard for people to focus and watch the whole thing, but I thought we could talk one more thing. So yeah, let's talk Amkey and your plans for Amkey and how those are like con crunch is totally real for people even this early. Sometimes I feel like they're like already rushing, even though it's a month away. So for like a month, 2 month away con, how prepared in advance do you have to be if you're doing something more elaborate?
Okay, so I remember one of the questions now is how long you usually spend on an elaborate cosplay. It kind of overlaps.
It does come up eventually.
But
yeah, so how long has it been taking you on average, do you think, to do like elaborate stuff?
I have a problem. I don't keep track of my like time either because I just forget a lot of times. They'll be like, "Hey, I'm gonna work on this thing," and I was like, "Oh, I'm starting like it's 8 o'clock, and then it goes till midnight." And I'm just kind of like I work on things like on and off too. Like I'll work on something for like an hour, and then I'll go do something else, and then I'll be doing laundry at the same time, and like so it's hard to gauge exactly how much time I spend on something. But usually, because like I work full time, I also go to school part time. I'm part of a comedy group. I'm a very busy person, if you haven't gathered that. And and so I just kind of try to smush everything in as much as I can. And so it's usually like gauge because it's different this next coming year because I only have like 4 or 5 cons planned, so I have a lot more time to make like bigger, elaborate things in between. Because a lot of times, if I only have a month between a convention, I won't start a huge project just because like I don't have time. And then I have a lot of like small cosplays that are fun to do. Like for instance, like my Jigglypuff, that like I use my I used my Nurse Joy dress for that, and I just styled the wig, and I made the sash bow.
I love your Nurse Joy, by the way. The curls on that. Oh, that's so nice.
Thank
you guys, look at her Nurse Joy. It's beautiful. Not now. We're still streaming later.
Oh, you're cutting out a little.
Oh no. Am I good? Am I good?
Yeah, I think it's good now.
Okay.
But for like something like Urza, I feel like that's probably gonna take me like 3 months at least, and that's why it's kind of nice for next year. For after Amki, I'm gonna like go gung ho on Urza and just work on that for. I'm hoping to get it done for like No Brand Con, but we'll see because it's one of those cosplays like I don't want to rush. But the thing is, I've been like I started last year in October technically. And yeah, so it's been a while, but it's a big project that I want to take my time on and do right too.
Shut up, dog. Quiet you. I was gonna say it's a really big project and there's a lot that goes into it, and I'm not surprised it would take like a whole year to make something so big. I'm always shocked when people can make something really, really big in like 2 months, but it must be like all they do. And like you said, you multitask and do other things.
And like I originally was planning on doing Urza for GeekCon, and then I can't remember what happened exactly with that one, but it just didn't work out. And then what?
But I feel like GeekCon stuck up on people a little bit.
Yeah, it really did. Because, like, Kitsune happened, and what did I even do for Kitsune? I don't remember. I made Jigglypuff for Kitsune. And then, did I have anything new at GeekCon? I don't remember.
I think I saw you in Jigglypuff when we were walking, and I was like, hi, bye.
Yeah. But that wasn't new. I don't think I made anything new for GeekCon now that I think of it. I don't remember what I was doing. I'm always busy. But like for Urza, like I think I started her in August if I remember correctly, and then wasn't gonna get her done, and then originally I had 6 cosplays planned for Daisho, and I was like, that's not gonna happen. So I scaled back on a couple, and then my homework for this semester was a lot more than I was anticipating, because last semester I only had 4 to 10 hours of homework a week at most, and then this semester it was 8 to 20 a week, and I was like, this was way more than I was expecting. So I had to scale back at Daisho more than I wanted to.
Well, I think we should go through any questions people have. We have one that was already posted. Can you?
Yeah.
Do you want to?
It's from see if I can. Young Senpai Photography asked, which craftsman skill would you want to learn next? Skill development for cosplays does fascinate me. I am currently working on vinyl binding is something for because for Amki I'm doing a completely new project which hush hush, I haven't released it yet, so I'm not gonna say what it is, but it involves vinyl binding the edges, and that's a new sewing technique I've always wanted to learn, so it's that's one that I'm tackling now. Obviously I'm working more on armor, which is really enjoyable for me. It's one of my favorite things right now because like I like sewing, but it like I'm never 100% satisfied with myself after I'm done with a project, which I mean is a good thing because it always pushes you to be better and pushes you to improve. But with like just prop and like armor building, because I've always been like a crafter and I love like sculpting, and like one of my favorite classes in high school was like pottery and like working with clay and things like that. So I would like to bring that over into my cosplay more because I really enjoy prop building a lot. And then I would love to learn LEDs because it's just awesome when things light up always. But like one of my like dream things to learn is making articulating wings because those are so cool. Yeah. Like if you saw the TwitchCon cosplay contest, there's this cosplayer called.
It must be online somewhere though.
It is. You should check it out. It's cool.
Like, they fold in and then pop out.
Yeah, with like a button though, like a remote.
Right. It's on like hydraulics or something with air pressure.
Yes. Yep. The one person that's like super known for it is like the Crooked Feather. Like she has cosplay goals when it comes to wings. Like her wings are featured in like the Victoria's Secret fashion show and like movies and like things like that. But the person at TwitchCon, her name was Cowbutt Crunchies, and her wings were
she's the one that
amazing.
Always wins the contests. And...
Yeah. Well, she didn't win. Like she won in her category, but she wasn't in the top 3, if I remember correctly.
I remember this one she did where like she made it look. I'm sure she does it a lot as a technique, but she made it look like scales. Man, that was so cool. That'd be wicked or some wig stuff like that.
Yeah, right.
Anybody watching have any more questions? Did we miss some? Let me scroll here. I'll write down questions. We go. All right. Okay. So, yeah, question time.
I don't think we have any more.
Throw them out there, peeps.
There's 3 people here. Now's your chance.
I know. Daria wanted to do one. She's probably typing with their thumbs like, quick.
Yeah.
Sometimes I feel like in the streams I don't always get all the messages people send in.
Oh no.
That's
never good.
So if
but I have a question for you. How about?
What's that?
I have a question for you.
Like,
what made you start? Yeah, what made you start deciding to interview cosplayers like this?
Oh, well, I thought it would be fun.
Yeah.
I started doing it through just regular typed Q&A, and my first one was with Iron Knight cosplay. He does a really wicked suited Iron Man. He's from California, I think. But he does
You're not allowed on the table.
Yeah. He does a lot of charities and stuff, so, and events, and we actually met on Cosplay Mino.
Oh, that's cool.
And he sent me some pictures I'm supposed to, like, mess with, but I haven't yet. But I was like, it was really cool, and it didn't get, like, a ton of response or anything, but I was like, this is just kind of nice, like, made me feel cool. But then I get to know people and, you know, ask questions that maybe other people haven't asked, and the answers are always interesting. And then I did
one. Kaz being extremely naughty, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Okay. Gotta get the cat.
The cat. My dog finally quieted down. Shut up.
You're not allowed up there. Go away.
What else did I do? Oh, I did one with Sparrow Style. Because she had done a Jasmine, and I was like, I want to know, like, how you feel going from a pirate all the time to a princess.
Yeah. It's so different, those looks. Like, she looked... Right? I couldn't even recognize her between the two.
If you're watching, Sparrow, you look good. But yeah, so I don't know. I just thought it would be a really cool thing to do, and I was looking at, like, cosplay interviews, and they're in magazines and stuff, but then you brought up the idea of the video, and I was like, yeah, that sounds awesome. Let's do it. And so I just love the idea of the dual screen interview thing. Was really cool.
It's like public Skype.
I was like, well, I like photography a lot, and I always end up asking questions when we're shooting anyway, or like when we get to know each other and stuff. So I was like, I'll just turn a thing out of it. Turn it into a thing. So,
it's fun.
Hey, that's so special being asked questions.
Nobody has a question if he hears.
No, I thought somebody would. I know she was like, I'm gonna write them down, ready to go. Yeah, I don't see any.
But then they left.
Oh, she must have left. Well, okay. Anybody else have any questions for, I guess, either of us? Doesn't have to be. How about you?
Yeah. Not that interesting.
No, me neither.
I pretend to be. I fake it.
Oh man. Well, I don't really have any like pressing questions that I had for you. Just the couple that we got to that we remembered to do.
Write your questions down next time.
Maybe just
That was funny.
my shame. Dishonor.
Dishonor on you. Dishonor on you, cow.
My cow. Dishonor on my dog. Alright, well I guess we'll say goodbye because we've been at it for 30 minutes and that's all I wanted to do. So thank you.
Yeah, have a good day.